Grew up in the South Bronx. I'm from the Philippines. Lost like 2-3 mil, like crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, and being seasoned to it, just like cooking, right? My first job was in McDonald's in 34th Street. Just kept knocking on the door until you couldn't really, say no. Stars at a restaurant called Noma in Copenhagen.
Noma was at the time #1 restaurant in the world, no?
Yeah, it was the first time they got the award, yeah.
Is a restaurant easy?
And a restaurant is the hardest thing ever. It's worse than any other business model. Pandemic, boom. It's a eat alive business, man. You gotta be on top of your shit, So branding is the most important part. What we're talking about now is people's livelihoods, right? We're talking just the fucking chef. Other people's money, kid. Don't ever put up any of your bread. They call it sweat equity. Learn the classics. Cook somebody under the table. You can work with the master. I'll stay my ass in Europe, you heard? And the business, baby. That's it.
All right. Okay, welcome back to another episode of Sippin With Sakari, and we are here with the man, the myth, the legend, Chef Harold. What's going on? How we doing?
We outside, baby. We're about to sip on some wine. I'm ready.
Sipping on some wine. Shout out to Wine Text. They gave us a crazy deal on this wine. Shipped it right to our house just by texting. So huge shout out to Wine Text. We're gonna drink some of this. This is like almost like a dessert wine almost.
Awesome. Yeah.
A little bit. So we're gonna, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm just gonna keep it light and nice. You know what I'm saying? But this is to friendship. This is to the industry. This is to, everybody really like.
Salud, papa.
Cheers, bro. It's all right.
Not bad.
It's good, right?
Bad, yeah.
So, Chef Harold, for people that don't know who you are, that's living under a rock.
Nah, chill.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, can you tell everybody who am I sitting with, man? Like, give us the comic book, the #1, the origin story of Chef Harold.
I think I'm just a kid from the South Bronx, right? That I think life threw a lot of things at this person, and I think what you're looking now is just just life, just giving it to that person and being seasoned to it, just like cooking, right?
100%.
Yeah, you go through all the processes and you go through all the ups and downs in life, and then just come out on the other side. And I think now at 38, I feel more grounded. I feel like I mastered the hustle game, and I think this food thing is the next plateau for everybody to get on, especially us brown folks, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So I grew up in the South Bronx. I'm from the Philippines. I moved here in 1994.
That's when I was born, bro.
Yeah, I was 9 years old when I got here. My first job was in McDonald's in 34th Street.
Me too, man.
That kind of really, just jump-started everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working for some really, nice restaurants. I just got lucky. I just kept knocking on the door until you couldn't really, say no.
Now, you say some nice restaurants. Like, I don't think people know what we talking about.
Yeah.
What kind of nice restaurants? Give us some examples.
So, I worked at Oreo, Rouge Tomate, Aquavit. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up going to Europe, and I staged at a restaurant called Noma in Copenhagen. And then I came back.
Hold on. You can't just breeze over that. Yeah, I was at Noma. So for those people that don't know, Noma was at the time #1 restaurant in the world, no?
Yeah, it was the first time they got the award, yeah.
Three Michelin stars?
It was 2 back then, but now it's 3, yeah.
That's even more impressive because when you're going through that phase, for people that don't know, when you're going through that phase of 2 to 3, it's more intense.
Super intense.
It's more. It's prime time.
Yeah. You better get your shit together for
sure. Because there's no there's no hiding anything. And then for people that don't know what Michelin stars, that's like the top of the top. No.
Yeah, it's our Oscars, really. You know what I mean? Like, you get like that movie Burnt, right? You get 1 star. You just like like Mick Jagger or somebody.
Yeah.
2 star, you like one of the Rolling Stones. But 3 star, you a Jedi. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the NBA. Yeah. It's like the top of the top professional for our industry. For people that seen The Bear,
right?
It's almost on that level. I mean, obviously there's TV, but we're talking the top of the top.
Yeah, I'm talking about this is life. This is life. Like people have 3 stars for 30 years type stuff. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, so at that time it was 2 star, and most of the most of the big name chefs that you hear now are coming from that school.
Yep.
So I was part of that 2011. So I got really lucky that I was part of the mix.
Yeah.
And I was the only man. I was the only dude from the Bronx, and everybody else was from like France or wherever.
Right.
Working from Guy Savoy and all this stuff.
Yep.
I came from McDonald's. You know what I mean? So it was really interesting to be part of that. And
can we talk about that for a second? Because it's not. I mean, I have a very similar story, which is why I resonate with you a lot. Right? Like McDonald's was my first job that I worked at 11 Madison Park. At the time, it was the #1 restaurant in the world. So like, for me, that's not easy, right? Like you can't just come from McDonald's to that. So talk to us a little bit about like what did it take to get to that level?
Man, studying was intense. I was also an intern at the Food Network for like a few months, and I got lucky because at the Food Network, their library was like heaven.
Yeah.
You had the stack of El Bulli like recipe books from back in the day.
Right.
And they had a librarian, so any question I asked, anything about like any chef, he would pull me to the side and give me a book. And so what I ended up doing was I fell in love with the process of being a chef. I fell in love with like the path. So I followed everybody, their path and their stories, how they got to that point, and I just created a list for myself. And I just started checking those things off, you know what I mean? Gotta work at a 1-star, gotta work at a 2-star, gotta work at a 3-star, a mom and pop spot, a fucking mid-level spot, run a 4-man brigade, run a 65-man brigade, do kosher food. Like I had all these things that I checked off that I became part of the lineage of these other chefs that, I started working for. So
100%.
I think that's what it just came down to is the pre-work before you even got there, you know what I mean? And also just having the mentality of you can't come into a spot like Noma and thinking like you know everything. You got to go in there with blank slate.
100%.
You can't go in there thinking like, you all this stuff. Nah, that was the best part is I came in there blank slate, open-eyed, and I got a chance to do everything because they just saw the hunger in me and they just saw the hustle. And so,
how important is that for a young cook, a young chef to be moldable?
Yes.
Right? Like, because a lot of times we get out of culinary school, right? And we're like, oh, no. Like, we're taught this. But then this chef does it different. And this chef, when you really grow and learn, you start to see that chefs do things differently and stuff like that. Like, talk a little bit about that. Like, how important is it to be coachable?
Yeah, I think to become a great leader, you got to be coachable. You know what I'm saying? And I think it just comes down to, taking the good and then regurgitating it and then you translate it into your own little thing.
Yep.
Don't bring the bad with you because that's bad energy. You feel me?
Right.
And that's what I learned too is like, all your energy is transferred to the product that you're touching. Even though you got it from the farmer's market, if you're angry that day, the food is gonna taste different. You feel me? So I always try to make love to the food. Tell you the truth, man. My food is always.
Come on, talk to it.
I'm on some shit right now. No females in the. I'm just,
okay.
I'm trying to focus on my bag, but locked in. So
Kobe in the fourth.
All that energy, I'm putting it towards the food, and the food's looking sexy. You know what I'm saying? The food. I'm just making love to the shit now.
Come on.
It's a wrap. You know what I'm saying?
It's over.
So that's the idea. You just becoming, you're becoming into your own. I think it takes time. You got to earn your stripes and all that.
Right.
But once you hit that, once it clicks, you got to take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
And you got to be coachable to be able to be a leader. It's the only way. How you gonna learn from your mistakes?
Now, talk to us a little bit. I mean, you mentioned it once or twice, but like you're from the boogie down Bronx.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? My pops was from the Bronx. My mom was from the Bronx. Right? Like birth of hip hop.
Right.
Like, how does that influence your food?
I mean, it's versatile. It's multi levels. Like I grew up with Dominicans, so
okay.
So I cook Dominican food crazy, and I was
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, my first wife was Dominican. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like all that, mango, all that. I get down. Mondongo. I get down.
Come on.
Yeah. So I think all food that's third world have the same processes. It's just the ingredients that are changing, the flavor profiles that are changing, but the process is still the same. So what I ended up doing is I kind of took what I learned from Caribbean food and I put into Asian food, which is crazy because chicken adobo in the Philippines, motherfuckers just throw that shit in a pot and just let it braise. But I fucking brown my shit like I'm cooking brown chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I brown it with some sugar. Then I add the soy. Then I add the vinegar at the end. You know what I mean? Like all that. So my food tastes different. You know, but then it's still Filipino, which is crazy. So it's like soul Filipino almost, and then there's a cultural touch point there because you know black, brown people taste my food and they can, they resonate with it. You feel me? And that's the best part is that cultural touch point is the key.
I love that, bro. You spoke a little bit about soul Filipino. Like, well, how would you? I mean, I don't like to put things in a box, right?
Right.
But like, how would you describe your food?
I think at the end of the day, it's local. It's nose to tail, which is I'm a big advocate of. Never putting anything to waste. And then I think it's just good food, man, because I can go whichever way. You feel me? Like what I've noticed now is I can go from super rustic to super uber fine dining whenever I want to, and then finding that middle ground is my safe space. You know what I'm saying? So my plates are small but beautiful. Sometimes it's robust in flavors, but then it's dainty. Like it's all of these things. So I think it's just my personality, who I am as a person. It just represents it on the plate. You feel me?
I love that, bro. And so talk to us a little bit now about, I guess you're doing pop-ups, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got back from New York. I got back from San Francisco 3 months ago.
How was that, San Francisco?
Well, I mean, it was great because it made me realize, you know, that New York's the spot to be at if you want to make things moving. You know what I mean?
The culture.
Everybody else is still trying to come back from COVID. And New York's already back in it, you know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't even wait. So, you know, it was really good to be out there in the West Coast to, like, feel that West Coast lifestyle.
Yep.
No snow. I didn't have snow for 3 years, which is amazing, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Marin County in the Bay Area, you know what I'm saying? Pacifica, all these beautiful spaces.
Yep.
It was amazing, you know, and, like, the products was amazing and all that. But, you know, I missed the hustle in New York, you know? I miss the restaurant business. I miss my cooks. You know, I miss just being part of the mix. You know, so I did an Asia trip for like 3 months. You know, did some you know inner work. You know, because every day a man should be working on himself. You know, what I'm saying?
Come on.
You know, fuck these hoes. You know what I'm saying? We got time for this shit.
You gotta lock in.
Lock in. Work on yourself, man. You know what I'm saying?
And then the world will open up.
Come on, son. We don't need none of that. You know, none of this distractions. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get this bag. So at the end of the day, I focused on that. I came home, and then I was just waiting, and then, you know, I just started doing pop-ups, and I think every pop-up I've done is sold out. It's been, like, crazy hot in the streets, you know. So I did pop-up in Montreal, just came back from Montreal a few days ago. I'm about to go back, you know, going to Vancouver,
and you did a pop-up at Marcus Samuelson's restaurant with your friend, right?
I was at Have a Mall with Farial, did that.
I met a real dope chick, dope chick.
Yeah, she's it's a hot spot, B. You know, it's a great restaurant. You know what I mean? And
you were able to be the first.
I was the first. You know, I'm always the demo guy. Come on. I'm always gonna let it pop first. You know, set the tone. You know what I'm saying?
Got to.
And so, you know, she realized, you know, what it was, and then you look at the second one. The second one was live. You know what I'm saying?
I was at the second one.
Yeah, the second one was live. So, I love it, man. I just began to reconnect with old chef friends, and which are now like owners of restaurants and shit, which is crazy.
As people go on and stuff.
You know, so I've been gone 3 years, and everybody's, you know, motivated to get up to the top. So it's great, you know. I'm trying to get into Crown, trying to do a pop-up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking to James, like, yo, what's good, bro?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. I know you famous and shit now, but let me get in there, boy.
We gotta do what we gotta do.
You know what I'm saying? So it's been real good, man. So now I'm just waiting. Opportunities are coming crazy, you know. I did the barbecue brawl shit. That shit was crazy.
Talk a little bit about that. You was on television at Food Network, no?
Yeah. So, you know, they asked me if I knew barbecue. I lied. I said I knew everything about barbecue, but in my head I was like, I don't know shit about barbecue.
Right.
You know,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
I freaked that shit. And
you know what I mean?
You know, before I got onto the show, I did like 3 days of studying on barbecue. Fucking wrote man notes down. And then everybody else was there, was fucking barbecue pitmasters. So all day I was just like, yo, how do we da-da-da-da-da-da. They're just giving out knowledge. Right. So I was like, just faked it till I made it in second place, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Because cooking is cooking. No matter what.
If you know what to do, exactly. If you know what to do, if you know flavor, you know what to do, you lit. So I just let it rock. So I was just, you know, it was awesome. It was shooting for like a month, and then, you know, 125 million views. Like, it was live. So, you know, when I got back, it got real hot. So You know, so now I'm just tapping in. I'm just riding the wave.
Told us a little bit about, like, I guess, like, people don't realize how much work filming is.
Yeah,
right?
18-hour days, you know.
Because, like, it's long days. You filming, you got to talk about the day. Like, it's a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, was there any, like, highlights or anything that you really learned from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, a lot, man. Like, I mean, they call me the sleeping in the turtle because everybody else was wilding out, like, you know, taking smoke breaks and wilding. I was fucking sleeping. Like, I'm taking naps. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We got 15 minutes. I'm taking this 15 minutes. I'm taking power naps right now. You know?
Okay.
So I was always ready. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the other thing too was, you know, hanging out with Bobby Flay. You know.
Wow.
I mean, this guy. I mean, this is an OG, bro. Like
100%.
You know, we were you know, the conversations wasn't about food. It was about money. It was about money. I said, yo, Bobby, you got 5 minutes? He's like, yo, what's up, Harold? Boom, to the corner. Like, yo, I got a licensing deal. How much should I ask for? He's like, yo, don't ask for more than don't ask for less than 5%. I said, oh, wow. You know what I'm saying?
He's been in it. He understands it.
Yo, he's like, you opening a restaurant? Like, nah, I'm licensing. He's like, good job. Like, don't ever fucking open a restaurant. I said, oh.
Because it's hard, right? Speak a little bit about that, right? Like, people, Sakari, do you want a restaurant? What's going on? Da-da-da-da. Of course I want a restaurant.
Right.
But what I've realized going through the industry, right? Like, it's very hard to make a profitable restaurant. Yeah. And if you do make a profitable restaurant, right, sometimes it gets a little watered down. Sometimes you have to franchise it. You might not be able to do exactly what you want. Maybe it's less intimate.
Right.
Maybe it's more scaled out.
Right.
Right? So, like, I think restaurant for me specifically is in the cards at the right time. But, like, a lot of people don't realize how hard it is, right? Profitability, things
crazy.
like that. Speak a little bit about that. Like, is a restaurant easy?
And a restaurant is the hardest thing ever. It's worse. It's worse than any other business model, because you're just hoping, and wishing that this goes well. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You don't know what's gonna happen. Pandemic, boom. You know how many restaurants was ready to open in 2020? It was like everybody's year. Yeah. Everybody's posting, 2020 my year coming. Boom, pandemic hit them.
And then bam,
Bam, you know, lost like 2-3 mil, like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a hard investment for investors. Investors don't really want to fuck with restaurants. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, it's a passion project. If somebody got $500,000, they can just like have on the side. That's like, they'll give that to you because you're gonna lose that money in the restaurant business. 500,000 come in, 500,000 go out the door. You feel me? Like, you know, it's a eat or lie business, man. You gotta be on top of your shit. You know,
you gotta be ready. And I wanted you to touch on that because if there is a young chef, a young cook listening, watching, whatever, you know what I mean. I don't want to discourage them from doing a restaurant, but I want to educate them on the importance of diversibility. Maybe maybe it's a cookbook, maybe it's a spice rub line. Maybe
you gotta do all of it. It's part of it.
You know, it's all part of it.
Your branding is the most important part. So you know, I would use this time wisely to create the brand first before you start talking about opening a business. Because what we're talking about now is people's livelihoods, right? We're talking about people that's gonna depend on you for their livelihoods. There's investors gonna depend on you to pay them back.
Pay them back.
Right? There's
10x their money.
Come on, son. You know, there's so much things happening. Yep. And you have no control of it because you're just a fucking chef. You know what I'm saying?
You're an artist. You're creative.
You're just a guy that running. You know, you're running the spot, but you're not. You know,
you're thinking about the food.
Come on, son. We didn't go to school for this. Like, you know, talking about.
It's a little tough.
So I think that the main thing I think people should always do if you open a restaurant is OPM, other people's money, kid. Don't ever put up any of your bread. Never. Use your clout as a brand. Use it as a equity play. They call it sweat equity, right? Equity play. So if you come in as a chef, you should always get 50%, whatever, and then you take 20% off. You give some of that money, some of that equity to your fucking managers. You take that 35% equity, and you hold on to that. That 20% that you gave up is investing into people. You're investing for them to stay with you for a long time because it's such a hard business now to have people stay in the business. You feel me? Yeah. After the pandemic, everybody dipped. Yeah. Everybody left the business. So if you do find a general manager or even managers, you gotta invest in them. You gotta give them some equity. You gotta give them some cash. You gotta do what you gotta do to keep them around for at least 2 years because you need that stability.
At least 2 years.
Yeah, you need that stability. So, now we're talking about more money coming out of your pocket. So if you're gonna be into this restaurant situation and you're the chef, you gotta know that you're not gonna get broken even until 4 or 5 years. Everybody's gonna eat first. You eat last. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So
now, what if they said, Chef Harold, I want to own 100% of the company. I want to own 100%.
You wildin'. That's what I would tell you. You wildin'.
Because I feel like people forget that, like, what's 100% of nothing versus 10% of 100 million.
You know the deal. We've seen this movie before. This movie has been played a million times.
Yep.
Right? You don't own 100% of anything. You put up equity. You do all these things. You don't want to be the guy holding the fucking stick at the end. You feel me?
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guy that gets sued at the end. You feel me? So, you gotta take in some partners. You gotta know your game plan. You gotta know your job descriptions.
Yeah. And one thing that I learned was finding people that are good at what you're not good at. Because if you're the creative and you're the artist and you know about food, you don't need to worry about hiring a CDC first. Right. You need to worry about, well, what am I not good at?
That's right.
I'm not good at numbers, well, I need a CFO.
That's right.
Right? I don't have a business mindset, well, I need to have a COO.
That's right.
Right? Like, you need to be able to diversify and fill in the gaps and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And also, you have to have a good lawyer.
100%.
My lawyer's been with me for almost 10 years. I spent X amount of dollars with him, but it's worth it. He 10X my life. So find a good lawyer that you can trust that got your back all the way through, and you ain't got nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying? Whoever want to sue you, whoever want to do all these things, you got somebody to have you back. At one point this last 3 years, I had 7 lawyers, my boy. 7, son.
Seven, lucky number 7.
Guess how much money I was pushing out. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, lawyers are key. I can't stress that enough. Have a good lawyer. Mm-hmm. Set up your structure properly on the back end. Make sure you got an accountant, you got a bookie, you got all type of shit to keep your shit straight. Because the tax man don't give a fuck about nothing.
Nothing.
They will come for you, son. You can rock for 5 years.
Yeah.
But they'll come for you, boy. They'll come for that. That shit's gonna add up. So, you know what I'm saying?
Biggest lesson you learned?
Biggest lesson? I think the biggest lesson I learned is, really is to, put faith in people that you've vetted to do a job. Put faith in them. You know what I'm saying? Trust them. Don't
look over their shoulder.
Yeah, don't micromanage too much. Just make sure that there's a check-in, there's communication, all that good stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you hire somebody to do a job, you gotta let them work. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if they're not doing their job, it's different, right? But if you hire somebody to do a job, you let them work, and then you gotta have that space for them to work. So if they don't feel safe or they don't have a space, they're not gonna give you the outcome you're looking for. You feel me? So that's the one thing I learned is just not to micromanage too much. You're a chef. You checking every fucking station and shit.
Right.
But
trust your team.
Especially if you vetted them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's the way I see it.
And now, what's one piece of advice that you would give to the young chef, the young cook, the young entrepreneur, the young food entrepreneur? Maybe he's coming out from the South Bronx. Maybe he's coming from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
Right.
Maybe he's coming from Long Island. I don't know.
Right.
But maybe he looks up to you and resonates with you as a person.
Right.
He's like, yo, I see a lot of Chef Harold. Right. What would you advise him to do on this journey?
First of all, get a passport. That's number 1.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Number 2, go find a chef in fucking Lyon, France, that wants to take you in and work for that motherfucker for a whole year. Just stay with him. Stay with him or her. Just stay there. Don't even worry about your family. Don't worry about nothing like that. Just fucking get your shit right. I think the one thing that people are forgetting, this is a craft. This is something that you have to learn every day. You gotta keep changing and all that. But the one thing that's dying out is the OGs. The OGs are going away. So all the old school cooking, pâté en bresse, fucking torchons, all this shit is going away. Everybody's using powders now. Everybody's using fucking meat glue to put their shit together. You gotta learn the old school shit. old school too. Cook old school. Wear a blue apron, son. That's how old school's gotta be. You gotta find a restaurant like that. You know what I'm saying? And then come back to New York. Then just work in a couple of places. If you feel confident enough and your feet is on the ground and you know who you are and you want to speak your truth, handle business, baby. That's it. But 1 year at a spot, somewhere in France, somewhere in Europe, somewhere not in America, where you learn the classics, where you can just cook somebody under the table like nothing, because you fucking work with the master. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what I would do if I go back in time. I'll stay my ass in Europe. You heard?
It's underrated, right?
Man, oh my God. And traveling is the key, man. It's like going to different restaurants, right? How you gonna learn technique? How you gonna learn flavor profiles if you don't go and be part of the mix? So for us as chefs, traveling is part of it. You can tell a motherfucker travels, Just the way the swag, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Motherfucker travel. So you gotta be outside. Don't stay in your block. The block's not going nowhere. Grab your passport and get the fuck up out of here. That's it.
I don't know a better way to end it than that. Like, you know what I mean? Because he definitely, 100%, bro. I couldn't agree more. I changed my whole perspective about money and food and culture just based off of traveling. So,
and you become empathetic. You become, 100%. Considerate of other people's livelihoods.
Lives,
so you become the boss.
Because you're the immigrant almost in those countries. You're the immigrant. You're the person that can't speak the language.
I got dubbed in Japan crazy. I was going to a sushi spot. No foreigner. I said, what? I'm Asian, bro.
What you mean?
He's like, nah, son, you dubbed. I said, oh, shit. So, shit like that, and then like when you come back and you're the head chef, you're also empathetic about other people's shit, Like, I remember, bro. I don't even remember how many times I've given my regular-ass jacket to people just cross the border. They don't got no fucking jackets. They still have a job with me. I can't even count on my fingers how many times I've done that. Yeah. Like fucking North Faces, like off my back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just cause, like, come on, yo. Like, it's the wintertime. Like, motherfuckers just cross the board. Like, one of those guys stayed with me for 7 fucking years, yo. Wow. 7 years. He opened every restaurant with me. Wow. No questions asked. I called him. He came. Wow. So, that's because I traveled and I knew how to be empathetic, and I knew how.
So important.
At the end of the day, we're still people. We're not fucking saving lives. It's just fucking food, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, that's the way I roll now.
Chef Harold, man, I appreciate you. You don't even know, man. Like, I hope, this sheds some light. I hope it teaches people something. I hope it helps at least one person. How can people support you? What's going on with you right now? Like, are you doing? When's your next pop up? Where can people follow you? Like,
if you can fly to Montreal, it's my next pop up.
Ooh, can't keep up with them. Come on.
Come see me in Canada, but I'm outside. Instagrams, whatever. Chef Harold Villarosa. But there's gonna be a lot of news coming in about 3-4 months. You know what I'm saying? I got shit with McDonald's. I got a bunch of stuff, man. But
working.
You got to be outside. So if you outside, I see you outside. You know what I mean?
That's it, man. And I hope this helps. And I just want to say thank you, bro, for coming on the platform, bro, and for another episode of Sippin with Sakari.
Shit, we sipping.
Come on, sipping. You know what I mean?
Cheers.
Sippin with Sakari.